I'm tired of these absolutely vile rumors. Let's look at the tape.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my Deadpool and Wolverine post-credit scene video. I know there's a lot of questions about the future of Deadpool and Wolverine in the MCU movies. We've got Avengers 5, Avengers 6, Secret Wars coming up. There were many references to Deadpool coming to the MCU during the movie, joining the Avengers, and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will return for more movies, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos, and careful for spoilers for the end of the movie. We'll be talking about the end of the movie, the post-credit scenes, and what it sets up for the future, like the way it leaves Deadpool and Wolverine and what they tease for the future. At the end of the movie, the rogue TVA agent, Paradox, played by Matthew Macfadyen, is trying to take over the TVA and reinstitute their old policy of getting rid of dying timelines faster. He makes a bunch of jokes about the way things were before Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2. The movie takes place after the events of Loki Season 2, so you have to imagine God of Stories Loki sitting in the middle of the multiverse holding everything together with his tree structure there. That's why in the background of the TVA scenes, you see the timelines organized in the tree structure, just to reference the end of Loki Season 2. Paradox hates the new way the TVA is operating and creates what he calls a time ripper to get rid of timelines faster. This is a brand new device that they create for the movie. It did not exist during Loki Season 1, Loki Season 2. It didn't have anything to do with Kang's creations. The other major concept that they introduced for the purposes of this movie, like a brand new idea, are anchor beings. I think this is also to set up a little bit of Secret Wars too down the road. But it's not something from the Loki episodes. An anchor being, according to this movie, is a being in a timeline who's so important that he acts as an anchor for the timeline, and once he dies, or she dies, it destroys the timeline, but it takes about 1,000 years for that to happen. Paradox does not want to wait that long. He wants to be able to prune things, get rid of timelines like they used to do before the events of Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2, thus the Time Ripper. It's meant to explain why he's doing this in the movie, while the events of Loki Season 2 explain that the TVA is not doing this anymore. He's meant to be a rogue agent inside the TVA, trying to eventually take over the TVA. He's meant to be the co-villain along with Cassandra Nova during the movie. Paradox's rogue group betrays Cassandra Nova, who the TVA itself, like the larger TVA, had an agreement with, letting her do whatever she wanted on the Void planet as long as she stayed on the Void. Paradox tries to have her killed because he just doesn't want to deal with her anymore, so she leaves the Void then and takes the Time Ripper, trying to use it to destroy all timelines so that the Void winds up being the only planet left in existence. A lot of you probably picked up on this idea in the background. That would essentially be Secret Wars. That's kind of how Secret Wars winds up going down. The entire multiverse is destroyed, but one planet remains, Battleworld. The Void is kind of like a version of Battleworld in the comics. People from many other universes all jammed together on the same planet. More on the Secret Wars references when I do my full breakdown and Easter eggs video, because there are a couple specific references to Secret Wars itself and the Avengers just in general. Deadpool and Wolverine wind up stopping Cassandra Nova after defeating the Deadpool Corps and a ton more cameos. That'll also be in my full breakdown and Easter eggs video because there's like 100 different versions of Deadpool, and they even had a Stan Lee cameo scene during that to boot. Did not expect that we would get a bunch more Stan Lee cameo scenes after his death, so RIP, it's great to see him in the movie. After they stop her and destroy the Time Ripper, Paradox gets arrested by Hunter B-15 and sent to the TVA version of prison. Maybe eventually they'll prune him and send him to the Void, because that's kind of what the TVA does with their prisoners eventually. They just send them to the Void. Deadpool winds up saving his universe, which they say canonically in the movie is Universe 10005, which previously they said was the main X-Men movie universe. That's confirmation that Deadpool is canon to the main X-Men movies. There were a lot of questions about that before, like why are there two different versions of Colossus? There are a bunch of references to that throughout the movie, with Deadpool joking with different actors that they're like the new version of this character for that week. Like, oh, we have 5 different versions of the Punisher. We get a whole bunch of different versions of Juggernaut now. But it's a big part of the story of this movie that the original anchor being of his universe, this main X-Men universe, was the original Wolverine that Hugh Jackman played during the events of Logan. So he died, that universe slowly started dying. The reason why it stops dying and begins to regenerate is because the new Wolverine Hugh Jackman is playing is able to replace him after he redeems himself. I think that's because he is another Wolverine, like a Wolverine has to be the anchor being. It could be any Wolverine as long as he becomes great enough. Like there's this weird morality component to it. You could get kind of meta about that, but that's just the way they explain it in the film. Deadpool is not meant to be like the new anchor being of this universe. It's just meant to be this version of Wolverine that's left over. They actually have Shawarma making a bunch of Avengers post-credit scene jokes. Deadpool says the Avengers were the first to discover shawarma, which is a callback to that first Avengers movie. There's a lot of footage and references of that first Avengers movie throughout the film and the Happy Hogan cameo scene inside the actual MCU. I know there'll be a lot of questions about that. Deadpool had taken Cable's time travel device before he destroyed it after the Deadpool 2 post-credit scenes where he kills the previous versions of himself, Ryan Reynolds, and then baby Hitler. Uses it to jump to the 616 universe, that's the MCU proper, and tries to join the Avengers March 14th, 2018, which is meant to be right before Avengers Infinity War happens. They mostly use it for a bunch of jokes with Happy Hogan and references to Iron Man specifically, but the reason why they use Jon Favreau's Happy Hogan as opposed to any other MCU character that they could have had this cameo scene is because Jon Favreau also played Foggy Nelson in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and that movie is heavily referenced throughout the film with cameo scenes and scenes during the actual credits themselves. Like this version of Elektra is from that movie. They reference Ben Affleck's Daredevil previously saying that he died with a quick joke. Then during the credits, they play this scene of Ben Affleck's Daredevil and Jon Favreau, Foggy Nelson, in the Daredevil movie.
Eyewitnesses say that Quesada was singled out by the demonic vigilante known as the Daredevil.
The other interesting detail, too, is that this Wolverine in his totally separate universe, he's not from the main X-Men universe, he's from a totally separate universe, he knew the Avengers in his universe and absolutely hated them. That doesn't mean the Avengers necessarily exist inside the X-Men movie universe that Deadpool comes from, because this Wolverine is from a totally different one, and I think it's just in that different one, both the Avengers and X-Men exist. What I think they're actually trying to set up, though, because we know his Wolverine will come back, is that by the time we get to Secret Wars and this Wolverine winds up running into a bunch of Avengers variants, he hates them. I think they're just slowly setting up some background and drama for his character when he starts interacting with those other Avengers characters that show up in the movie, because Chris Evans is supposed to also come back for Secret Wars in some fashion, but they didn't say which character he'd play. They implied that it's going to be a version of his Captain America, though. R.I.P. to Johnny Storm. You had a fouler mouth than Deadpool, which is hard to do. Dogpool winds up getting stuck in their main X-Men universe. Deadpool adopts him, which he'd been trying to do for the entire movie, and then he invites Wolverine to stay with him and Blind Al, just implying that he will stick around for more movies. Previously, he said, you probably won't see me again. I think that was meant to be a joke about him being a one-off cameo scene, and Deadpool's like, no, stay, meaning that he will come back in future movies. A lot of the movie also clowns on sequels themselves, cinematic universes like the MCU just in general. Then the regular part of the movie with all Deadpool's friends from the previous Deadpool movies hanging out around a table, Avengers post-credit scene style, having their own shawarma type of scene, eating pizza though that is from the Kevin Feige pizza place, which is a callback to the Easter egg from the first Deadpool movie with Feige's famous pizza. The reason why X-23 is here with this Wolverine and they're having fun is because, remember, she was pruned from the main X-Men universe, but after the events of the Logan movie, and because Deadpool asked the TVA Hunter B-15 to send the rest of the Resistance group back to their original universes, so this is her original universe, just from the future. So I think the fact that she's also here in this pizza-style shawarma scene means that she will also return in future films. They pan out on Deadpool and Wolverine's masks in the Kevin Feige pizza boxes, and over the actual credits, they play a Green Day song and have a montage of behind-the-scenes clips from all the X-Men, the Fox Marvel movies, and other movies that were featuring cameos in the film. Meant to honor all the films that existed before the MCU or existed outside of the MCU in the Fox Marvel universe. Some of the actual behind-the-scenes clips were footage that I specifically used in a bunch of my videos last year when we were talking about the cameos that we thought were going to be in the movie. It was a wild coincidence, wait a minute, I just used that clip. There's only one post-credit scene, and it's meant to pay off Chris Evans' Human Torch dying earlier in the film. Deadpool gets pissed off throughout the film because everyone keeps blaming him for getting Johnny killed, ... He winds up replaying the events of them being trapped together by Cassandra Nova's X-Men variants, and Chris Evans' Johnny Storm just goes full motor mouth, proceeding to foreshadow the way that Cassandra Nova will eventually kill him, saying that he'd rather her rip all of his skin off. And later, when they do run into Cassandra Nova, Deadpool basically repeats what Johnny just said, and he tries to claim that Deadpool's making it up. So after he replays the footage in that same TVA room that he'd be going to this entire time, he says gotcha, takes the Tempat, closes it, and then walks off screen with it slamming to black. Keep in mind though, he ends the movie going back to the TVA, he still has a Tempat, so I think this is meant to set up the idea of how he can come back in Secret Wars crossover universes again. But for now, he is still on his Earth, he's just chilling out on the main X-Men universe. The other interesting detail is that there's no tagline at the end of credits like they have at typical MCU movies saying so-and-so will return, like Thanos will return after Avengers Infinity War, because we knew Avengers Endgame was happening. There's no message that says Deadpool and Wolverine will return. I think just because Kevin Feige wants to leave that up in the air so that people wonder if they will return. And the movie itself was meant to be a bookend for a lot of the original X-Men, Fox Marvel movies as they transition things to the MCU now. They did the same thing at the end of Avengers Endgame. Like, it didn't say the Avengers will return. It didn't say anything. It just had the end credits and then boom, slam to black. But Hugh Jackman has signed a deal to come back in future Marvel movies, probably multiple ones now. Originally, it was just going to be Secret Wars, but now there'll probably be multiple films he comes back for. Kevin Feige said that he's not going to recast Wolverine anytime soon, just meaning that Hugh Jackman will continue to be Wolverine for a good long while. And they joke about that during the film a lot, till he's 90, which is probably going to wind up being true now. I know there's a billion other questions about things that they raise, like Deadpool knows a version of Spider-Man. Which Spider-Man is it? I'll talk about that during my full breakdown and Easter eggs for the entire movie. That's probably going to have to be like a 2-hour-long video. That will post Saturday morning, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Gotta watch the movie like 5 more times to try and catch all the Easter eggs. Post all your reactions in the comments below. And the other big thing that's happening this weekend is Comic-Con. Marvel teased a big Fantastic Four Galactus reveal that's going to be happening Saturday night. We might get another Marvel trailer for something, so whatever they wind up releasing or announcing, of course I will do all the videos for it starting Saturday night. Click here for that full breakdown and Easter eggs video for Deadpool and Wolverine, and click here for all my Marvel Comic-Con videos for everything that they wind up releasing. I'll update that link as soon as I start posting those videos too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and maximum effort.